Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Today is Friday, January 19th, 2018, and it is 10:15 a.m. Central Time. So I'm sorry I'm a little late today, but I just wanted to check in with you guys. As I told you earlier this week, I was considering ending my Friday streams, but I decided to go ahead and do a quick check-in with you, just so you didn't, have to do the whole weekend alone without any support. So while I'm waiting for my chat to pop up, let me just remind you that my name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll get going. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Nicole, Marilyn. Oh, I don't know how to say that one. Alawufakami? Alawufakami? Wait a minute. I'm going to say it one more time. So I'm going to say Oluwafolakemi. Can I just call you Olu? Eden Nault, good morning. Ashley Thrasher, hello. Fern Leaf, good morning and welcome. Healthy Love in the house, good morning, good morning. She says, hope everyone's having a great Friday. The amazing Malta in the house, welcoming everyone to the stream. Ellen Dilly, good morning, Ellen, and welcome. Ms. Lily in the house, Shannon O'Brien. Hey, she finally made it to the beginning of a live chat. Hey, girl, hey, how you doing? Rose Hargrove in the house. Hello, beautiful. How are you? Malta says good morning to everyone. James LaCroix in the house. Hello, James. Brian and his beautiful face. Good morning, good morning. And Rachel Lancaster. Sansu in the house. Hello, Sansu. Lauren G. Let's see. Good morning, Lauren G. Shannon O'Brien. Today her husband is also home with her son. Well, that's a good thing. I hope your son's doing okay. I'm a little worried about him. He's been struggling for a while, right? Amy Highmore says, I helped a girl all night who had surgery this morning at 6 a.m. Her narcissist guy kicked her out to the street last night before this surgery. Why are people like that? See, this is the thing that frustrates me about narcissists. Things like this, and probably he's the only person she's got in the world and she gets thrown out on the street. I'm so sorry. Oh, stomach flu. Yeah, that's terrible. I hate the stomach flu. It's rough, Shannon, when that goes through the house. Seems like when it goes through the house, it goes through the whole house, doesn't it? Did you have it too? I think you did, didn't you? Doreen B in the house says, hi, Al. Hey, Doreen, welcome back. Renee Goodell, good morning, tribe. Good morning, Miss Renee. Mervyn Harper is here. Hello, Mervyn. Welcome to the chat. He says, morning from the Yukon. Woo, that's exotic. Let's see. I can call you Kemi or Fulla. Okay, well, I'm going to call you Kemi. I'm going to try to remember that. All right. Biz Noor in the house. Hey, she says, what does real love feel like? Oh, that is a great question. Okay, so real love is not beautiful all the time. Sometimes it's a little dirty and nasty, and I don't mean that in a weird way, and I'm probably going to demonetize for saying that. But what I mean is that sometimes real love is hard. Sometimes you give 80% and your spouse gives 20, but sometimes it's the other way around, and sometimes it's 50-50. I think it feels like someone you can depend on. It feels like someone you know for sure they're on your team, that when you get into a place, times get tough. Like, here's an example of what I think real love looks like. So my husband and I, if we have any kind of arguments or fights, or not really fights, but arguments, because everybody has arguments, even people in love. We've been together almost 15 years now. And I think that the thing that really, really stands out for me is, regardless of all that, once you get past the infatuation phase and all this stuff, is being able to look over at that person and go, oh, you know what? I'm still attracted to that person. Oh, you know what? I'm still in love with that person. But that's not real tangible. What's tangible? Okay. So here's an example I was going to tell you, then I got distracted. So when you get into an argument with your spouse and you guys are kind of like this and not agreeing on something, and then something happens, like some situation comes up where, someone attacks you personally. This happened to me. So I guess it was about 5 or 6 years ago. We were in a mild argument. He was downstairs, I was upstairs, and we were kind of, and we found out that some of our neighbors were spreading some rumors about us. And so instead of, when I learned this information, I went right down to where he was and I showed him what I had seen on Facebook or whatever it was. And I said, do you see this? Have you seen this? And suddenly we were no longer arguing. We were us against the world. And I think that's what real life feels like, is us against the world, no matter what. So sure, you might have your little, spats and disagreements and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, when times are tough, no matter what's going on, it's you against the world. And I think that's something that you never get with a real narcissist. You never get us against the world with a narcissist unless it's for their cause and not yours. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of part of it. I mean, I have done entire videos on this, but I think real love feels like it feels comfortable. You can fart in front of each other or whatever, but but it also feels strong and it feels like family. It feels like someone that no matter what you go through, that person's going to be there. If you gain 100 pounds or lose 100 pounds, or which, you know, or if you know, turn into something that you weren't before, that person will still love you. Time does heal all wounds if you stop poking the wounds, right? So if you're in a situation where you're in pain and life is hard, then you have to, begin to heal the wound by not poking the wound anymore. So, like, let me just be really literal here. Let's say I have a cut on my hand and I keep touching it. Every time I touch it, I'm like adding germs to it. I'm, irritating it, making it worse, making it worse. And then one day I go, you know what? I'm not getting any better. So maybe I'm going to stop touching that wound, right? And then a week later I notice it starts to finally heal up. Well, this is what the same kind of thing with narcissistic abuse. When you find yourself wounded, if you continue to interact with the narcissist and you continue to try to make it work with the narcissist, it's just like poking an open wound. It will never heal. So the only way you're really going to heal in the long run is by stopping the injury from reoccurring over and over again. And then, you heal yourself and you find your self-love. And once you find self-love and you recognize that you are in fact someone who deserves to be loved and that you have things to offer the world besides whatever services you're providing the narcissist or whatever you're doing for the narcissist or whatever the narcissist says you're doing or you're worth, then you can open yourself to real love, because then you can say, I have boundaries. Here's what they are. I don't tolerate anything outside of these boundaries. And you can meet someone who's willing to love you within those boundaries and still love you despite your flaws. Another thing about real love is that you need to love more things about the person than you don't. So nobody's perfect. You're going to be annoyed with somebody sometimes. You know what I mean? But if you can, and I'm not saying you should necessarily do this in a healthy relationship, but if you could make pros and cons lists, your pros side would need to be a lot more abundant than your cons side. At least 51%, but I would say a little more, 75, 85% would be nice. So I don't know if that's what you wanted exactly, but I hope it helps a little bit. All right, Eden. Whoop. Hello. Where were I? Okay, Eden. Okay. Okay. Eden Nault says, I'm not with the narc anymore, but I didn't think she was an issue anymore until I heard she was stalking my sister, which ruined our relationship. When does it end? Okay. So she stalked your sister, and I remember you talking about this yesterday, and that is what ruined your relationship with your sister. But why is your sister afraid? I mean, why would she not be on your side about this? That's the only thing that confuses me here. Why would she be willing to lose you over someone who you're not even with anymore? That's, I guess, my biggest concern. I would try to talk with your sister. Is your sister a little bit toxic, do you think? Or is she just scared because the narcissist was outrageous about it? Did the narcissist demand that she stop talking to you? Why would your sister stop talking to you because the narcissist was stalking her if you weren't with her anymore? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But again, I don't know the whole story, so I'm not implying that she's wrong. I'm just saying I guess I think she is wrong for dumping you for something that obviously wasn't your fault. But fill me in a little bit more, Eden, please, and quick, because I'm running out. I've only got a little bit of time today. Shannon says two viruses hiding around our house. Oh yeah, Shannon, I hear you. Awful. And I'm so sorry that you guys are going through it. I tell you what, when my kids were a little bit younger, it was so terrible when we had one of those viruses, because inevitably somebody wouldn't make it to the bathroom. Ooh, no good. Madeline Gutierrez says, good morning, Ms. Angie and Roomies. You are precious. Thank you for being so selfless and taking care of us for the weekend. Feeling better every day, but slow sickness recovery. Madeline, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm so sorry that you're not feeling well. And I really have been thinking about you in your little cafe. So I sure hope that your health improves soon, and I hope that you're able to maybe maybe reopen the cafe or figure out another way to follow your heart, because I want you to be happy. You deserve that. Big hugs and love to you, my friend. My 2 cents says, good morning. I had a rough night with my daughter. She is so heartbroken because of the narc. She can't understand why he didn't love her, why she wasn't good enough, etc. Oh, she said, I'm so lost at how to help her heal. That is so difficult. I'll tell you something. I assume that you're talking about your ex. Um, and something that I would suggest to you is to sit down with her and try to explain to her exactly what he is. I'm sure you've done that. But then let her know that it's not that she wasn't good enough. It's not anything like that. That it's about that person being broken. And then love her so hard, that she can't miss that. You know what I'm saying? It feels almost impossible to replace the love of another person, and you can't do that. But what you can do is explain that it's not her that's bad or broken, it's that person, and that you love her and that you think she's worthy and that she needs to learn that about herself too. You need to teach her how to fall in love with herself. And I know exactly how it feels when your child is heartbroken. It breaks your heart. It makes you just look. This is silly, but I'm going to tell you a little story. My son, my oldest son, he's 20 now. When he was like 3, he was struggling to let go of the binky. And I think part of the reason was because and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a pacifier. And he really, really was attached to that thing. And it's not really good for them to be using it at that age, but it was my first child. I didn't know all the things yet. So I was trying to break him of it. And so one night when I put him to bed, and I think part of the reason that he was so attached to it really is because of leaving our narcissist, leaving my narcissist when he was 16 months old and sort of starting over. His whole life kind of turned around. He didn't know what the heck was going on. And it was hard, but we did it. We got through it. Anyway, he was really attached to his little binky. And I remember one night I was like, we're going to take away the binky. And you're going to go to bed without the binky tonight. And I remember he had this cry. He was like, okay. And then he cried in this way that, like, it made my soul hurt. It was such a sad, soul wrenching cry. I'm going to cry just talking about it. And I gave him that binky back. He used it for another 6 months and then he decided he was done with it. But it was, and that was something silly, something about a binky. And so in your situation, my 2 cents, I want you to know that I understand the pain. And even as they get older, I really get it. Trust me, I get it. So let me tell you something. Just do what you have to do. Ooh, it's so silly. It's hard to think about your kids being sad. Okay. Boy, I'm a nerd today, you guys. All right. I just get it. I get what you're saying. I want you to tell her that she's worthy and that she's loved and that no matter what happens with that narcissist, she is not the one who's broken or bad. It's the narcissist. And tell her all the good things about herself and make her think of 10 things she's grateful for and 3 things she loves about herself every single. I can't believe y'all made me cry on a Friday morning. Every single day. Okay, we're moving on now, y'all. All right. Amy says, Amy, where were you? Amy says, I'm wondering if I was such a victim. Now I'm unsure how to help. Okay. I think I missed the first part of your comment. Amy, let me go back and find it. Hold on. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Before surgery, you are wondering if you are such a victim and you're unsure how to help. Well, okay. And then she says, but I manifested a mansion in Hawaii thanks to Angie's encouragement of no contact. God, it is so hard. Yeah, it is. Amy, I'll tell you something. There are different kinds of victims. You know what I'm saying? And just because this person was thrown out on the street and maybe you weren't, that doesn't mean that your situation is necessarily less than or less painful than hers. Everybody's got their own struggle. Is that what you're asking me? As far as being unsure how to help, I mean, if she's looking for a place to live, then, look around, contact local churches, ask around in her family, ask around, people that might be able to help. What do you mean you're unsure how to help? Help me understand. Let's see. Shannon says, the doctor gave my son 2 more types of meds for cough. He's doing better. Well, that's a good thing. That's very good. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Fernleaf says, narcissistic abuse and the gaslighting makes me feel like I'm going crazy. And I started adult partial outpatient hospitalization. I don't feel therapists or psychiatrists get it, and I don't know where to turn. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what adult partial outpatient hospitalization is exactly, except I assume that means you just go to the hospital during the day, maybe. But as far as therapists and psychiatrists not getting it, I get it. That's part of the reason I have as large of a clientele as I do, because a lot of times in school, therapists aren't taught and psychiatrists aren't taught all the ins and outs of NPD. And part of the reason is they have so many other things to learn about. And part of it is that, until recently, it wasn't even something that was very recognized by society in general. And because narcissists are so good at hiding themselves. Now, certainly, they learn about psychopaths and sociopaths up to a point, but it's when they don't fully understand the depths and the pervasiveness of narcissistic abuse, very often they turn to the victim and they blame the victim. And it's really upsetting, but it is definitely an ongoing problem. You might want to look into either coaching or looking for a therapist who can afford, who understands NPD specifically and NPD abuse, emotional abuse, that kind of stuff, because they don't understand. CPTSD is real, and it's something that we end up with when we have been through long-term emotional, mental abuse and physical abuse. So I would suggest, I've done videos on how to find the right therapist for you when you've been in that situation. I would suggest you check that out, some of those out, and let me know if you have other questions. And I'm sorry that you're going through this. Sansu says, I'm still nervous about serving my NARC divorce papers. Well, tell me what you're nervous about. Is it because you're afraid of how he's going to react? You don't have to serve him directly. Is that correct? You have someone going to him. He doesn't live with you anymore, right? Let me know your thoughts. Vinyl says, good morning, survivors. Good morning, Vinyl, and welcome back. Rose Hargrove says, I have the flu. Oh, hopefully at the tail end. Can't stand coughing. I know, I hate that feeling. It's terrible. I'm gonna send out healthy vibes to everybody, because let's all feel better. James LaCroix says, my 2 cents, it's not your daughter at all. Narcs hurt people they love because they have no empathy for anybody. That's absolutely 100% true, James. Thank you for sharing that. Shannon O'Brien says, I haven't caught either virus yet, focusing on to keep fighting. Hey girl, stay focused. and think about, instead of fighting the flu, think about staying healthy, attracting more health into your life, because for some reason that seems to have a big effect on the way that we handle stuff. Yeah. Fernleaf says, they make me so anxious from them triggering me. No one else triggers me like narcs, and they want to put me on mood stabilizers, but everyone around me, narcs, say I'm worse with them. I don't always recommend, drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, but I don't have negative feelings about them necessarily, but I also don't have positive feelings about them. And the reason I say that is because, number one, I'm not a doctor and I can't prescribe or recommend any drugs. Number two, I have taken, when I went through my divorce, I took Prozac for 6 months or so. And it helped me to kind of get over the hump. And then one day I noticed that I was not feeling anything. I wasn't feeling happy. I wasn't feeling sad. I wasn't feeling anything. And something major happened, and I should have cried and I didn't cry. And I knew, wow, something's off. Something's not right. So I stopped, with the help of my doctor, of course, weaning off properly. I stopped taking the medicine and I was fine. It was just a situational thing for me. But if you are going through all of this and you're trying to recover from narcissistic abuse with people who are not supporting you properly, well, that's a problem. So I would really, really suggest that you look around for someone who understands the disorder and the way that they abuse you as a result of it. That will help you. Validation is incredibly important during healing. So you need that. I don't know what your situation is, but if you're financially able to get a coach, then you should do that. A coach who understands where you're at, but that doesn't mean that you should stop seeing your psychiatrist if that's something you need. So tell me your thoughts on that. All right. Wally is back. Hey, Wally, welcome back. Says, morning, 3 weeks on the job and I still get training. At least I left the last jobs, which give me so much emotional pain and reminded me of the flying monkeys and the narcissist. Well, I'm happy to hear that you are on a new job, Wally. I know you were really struggling with that before. Congratulations. And I totally get you on, the fact of the matter is, whether, even though supposedly only 0.6% of the world's population has NPD, that's just the diagnosed population. And we're talking about people who were diagnosed through usually force, as in they were in prison and they got diagnosed, or they, were forced into therapy by a spouse and were diagnosed or something like that. But in general, they don't get diagnosed. So they are in more places than ever. And our current society, unfortunately, supports the development of narcissists in different ways. And of course, parents nowadays have more options. They become more selfish as generations go forward. And so parents create narcissists in the process as well. So I'm not saying that they're everywhere, but what I am saying is that we do tend to attract them to ourselves when we are empathic types of people who are, people pleasers and people who love hard and who have this, sometimes we feel like we have this mission to help people, and so people like myself, people like you guys, you're going to find yourself wanting to help the narcissist get better. And some narcissists use that. I mean, all narcissists use that against us, in my opinion. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I was really supposed to be off 6 minutes ago, but I'm going to keep going for just a little while, probably 5 or 6 more minutes. Healthy Love says, Pia Melody says, minimum if love is respect, a D maximum is being filled with warm feelings of regards, respect, and connectedness. Yeah, that seems legit. Sansu says, people I'm staying with are telling me that I have to go to church on Sunday. That happened to me. I wasn't staying with someone, but when I left my ex, I was struggling to pay for daycare. I couldn't get any help from the state because I made too much money. And my ex-husband wasn't paying any child. And even if he had been paying child support, he wouldn't have even been paying enough to cover the daycare costs, let alone anything else. So I for a while, my parents were helping me by paying for half of the daycare. And they also made me go to church during that time. And when I stopped going to church, they stopped helping to pay for the daycare. I think that's a little bit of religious abuse. It's definitely a control issue. And I don't think that you have to go to church if you don't want to. I think it's unfortunate that they're trying to force you into it. Did they make it a condition of you staying there, Sue? Let me know. Lynn Kent says, hi all from the UK. Hey Lynn, welcome. Help to heal by just listening. I'm glad to hear that. She says, even if you hear the same song over and over. Yes, that's right. And the fact is that there are only so many songs when it comes to healing from narcissistic abuse. And I mean that metaphorically, of course, but certainly listening to this. Look, anything I'm trying to deal with in my life, like when I wanted to, declutter my house, I started listening to people talk about it on YouTube. When I wanted to learn how to do YouTube better, I listened to people talk about it on YouTube or on podcasts or whatever. Anytime I want to do anything in my life, nowadays, I find myself, I put like videos in the background or podcasts in the background while I'm doing things during the day, in the morning, and I listen to things that help me feel motivated to do those things. The same applies for healing from narcissistic abuse. So you're absolutely right, Lynn. Thank you so much. I only wish I had this when I was going through the majority of my abuse. But the reason I create the content I do is because I create content that, in addition to what you guys ask me for, I create content that I wish I had when I was going through the hardest parts of this abuse. So, yeah. Belle of Amherst is here. And by the way, Lynn, welcome. Belle of Amherst is here, says morning, evening all. Hello, Belle. Hope everyone is keeping their peace. Always nice when it's a good day. I want that real love thing. It's no doubt difficult, but my parents have 55 years still in love. That's a beautiful thing. And you know what? Real love, see, the thing that I was confused about, I thought it was all a big freaking fairy tale. So like when I got married to my husband, I was like, where's my fairy tale? I want my fairy tale. And in real life, if I look at it, I could write a fairy tale about this stuff. We have really come far together. We have gone through a lot and we've come out stronger because of it. But fairy tales, they leave out the parts about the arguments. They leave out, because there is normal, in any situation, healthy or otherwise, you're going to have disagreements. People are individual, unique people. And so, when I would have disagreements with my husband, I would be like, oh, what the heck? Why is that? This is not a fairy tale. And so my point is, I guess my point is, I don't want to imply that love isn't amazing, because it is, but I do want to clarify that it's hard sometimes. And marriage is hard, and that's why I always say I'll never get married again. When, I'll be married to this man until one of us dies for sure, but but I will never get married again after that. And that's not because I don't love him, it's because I don't want to do it again. It's a lot of work, it's hard, and I love my family. I wouldn't trade them for the world, but I'm not getting any younger, and I'm definitely not having any more kids. So even if it would happen soon, I would not get married again. I'm not saying I wouldn't have love again. I'm not saying I wouldn't be in a relationship again, but I definitely would not get married again, and I probably wouldn't live with anybody again. So, but that's partially because I don't get enough time by myself sometimes, and because because I do enjoy being alone, and because I work a lot. And I'm kind of married to y'all in a way. You don't even know. All right. James says, my 2 cents, my ex hurt me so much and lied about everything and abused me and blamed me and everybody else. Yeah, for sure. And I've been there. I've done it. It's terrible. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, James. Malta says, good morning, Madeline. My 2 cents, Fern Leaf, Sansu, Vinyl, Wally, and good afternoon to Lynn. Shanisha Henry in the house. Hey, girl, hey. She says, I'm glad you came on. I need you. Well, I am here. I am here. Fernleaf says, though I just feel as anxious in a constant state of fight, flight, and freeze because I'm still in the toxic environment I grew up with the narcs. Nothing helps, and I'm sure they'll want to sedate me more. Oh, honey. Are you in a position where you're able to save up money and get out of there? Let me know your thoughts. Madeline Gutierrez says, Biz, I looked for an older couple in my church that are so much in love and asked them what their wisdom was on real love looks like. It was so awesome. Yeah. And it is awesome. And I don't want to, I guess my thing is I'm not into telling stories. I'm not into fairy tales. I want to tell the truth. And the truth is that, yes, there are amazing parts of being in love. And some of them you take for granted, like being familiar with a person and knowing each other's bodies and minds and all these things. But what I didn't know, and what I think that a lot of people don't know, is that there is no fairy tale in the sense that we want it to be. It's not it's real, it's dirty, it's in the trenches kind of stuff sometimes. But then sometimes there are those magical moments, and it is worth it. It's always worth it. You know what I mean? But when the two people are in it equally, there are sometimes that equality shifts here and there, and then it gets better, and then it shifts, but it has to always be, it has to, it can't just always be you giving everything and them taking everything. And that's what we had with narcissists. It has to be a 50-50 deal. So, for example, without my husband, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing now, because when I started my business, I had nothing. I had no money that I could throw into the business. And I certainly, I couldn't have even been in a position to start the business on the level that I did without having someone to pay my bills while I started the business, And so now I understand that I could have done that on the side, but at the time I had no idea. And I wanted to do things like that, but I didn't know. I had to learn how to do it first. So that's why I teach people how to do it now, so they can learn, what you can do for free, how you can do things on the side, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Speaking of which, I'm going to have to go in a second here, because in 17 minutes, I have my mastermind meeting. So I'm going to do 2 or 3 more questions, and then I got to go. Ashley Thrasher says, beautiful explanation of real love. That's what I thought my ex and I had, but then I was smacked with the cold, hard truth. Been there. Yes. And Breon says, great explanation of real love. I agree 100%. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear you guys say that, because I was afraid I was being a little negative there, and I didn't mean to be. Shannon says, hey, Malta. And Bella Vamhurst says, good to know you're all there. We're here, and we need each other, for each other, and we need that. That's absolutely true. We do. Absolutely. Malta says, good morning to Shannon. Fernleaf says, I feel like I'd be fine if I can get control of this whole narc stuff. I know for at least 5 to 6 years when I lived elsewhere, Pittsburgh, PA, I didn't have these problems or this anxiety. Oh, sweetheart. Listen, here's the thing. Knowing that should be what drives you. Okay. So if you know that getting away from the people that you're with now will make you feel less anxiety, less stressed out, then what you should do is focus your attention on that. Focus your attention on moving forward in your life, and not on pleasing these people you're with. You won't be able to make them happy. It's not your fault. It's their fault. They're not, they're not capable of understanding and being part of something real. So in your situation, if you know for sure that when you lived somewhere else, it was better for you, then you know what you need to do. You need to figure out a way to get back there. And maybe that means you stop taking, and again, don't do anything I say about medicine without talking to your doctor first, but talk to your doctor and see, do I need to really be on these medicines? Because if these are holding you back from functioning, this is another way that the narcissist might sort of retain control over you. So keep that in mind. And please, again, note, I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. You need to talk to your doctor before you do anything regarding your medicine, okay? But I just want to put it out there. Maybe talk to them and ask them that. I think that could really, really help you so much. All right. Malta chose the wrong emoji there, he said. Did I miss that one? Oh yeah, that was that's still cute though. Chris Pett, I'm going to do your question and then one from Healthy Love, and then I really, really got to go because I'm totally late already. Chris Pett says, the narcissist has harassed me at work, and now I'm going through a terrible smear campaign from all the people that used to be my friends, chased like hell and now making fun of me. Oh, sweetheart. I'm so sorry to hear that, Chris. This is horrible and difficult, but what I would suggest is that you do not engage in that stuff. Do not allow them to elicit emotional reactions from you. Don't overly try to defend yourself. If somebody comes to you and confronts you and says, did you do these things, or blah, 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 these are the things that are being said about you, you say to them, if you know me, you know I wouldn't do those things. And that's it. You don't need to say a whole bunch of other stuff, because if you that Shakespearean quote about, oh, the lady doth protest too much, methinks, don't protest too much. Just tell your truth, and that's it. Don't keep harping on it. Don't keep trying to defend yourself when they go, but what about this? And what about, if you knew me, you would know that I wouldn't do that. That's it. No emotion, no crap like that. Just stay focused on what you can control, on your goals, on your healing, on the things that you want and need. It's really hard, and I know it's hard. It's so painful, but watch the videos I've done on smear campaigns. They will be helpful for you. One last question. Healthy Love says, happy you're doing it every weekday. Thank you. She says, I'm trying to build support for me in my case, in my life, and I experience, victim blaming from my friends. They don't even know they do it. Being here recharges me. I'm so glad to hear that it recharges you, and I totally, absolutely, 100% understand how you feel. That is why I do this, and that is why I'm not going away. I was going to cut down to 2 days a week because on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I have to kind of be fast in my sessions. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with it, and we'll still do our longer sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But this way, at least we can all check in together and support each other through the chat and touch base. And don't forget, you can join SPAN, but don't forget, if you do join SPAN, you need to answer the questions before you will be accepted into the group. You don't have to answer in extreme detail, but you do have to let them know that you're a real person and that you're not either a spam person or a secret narcissist trying to sneak in and spy on people. So keep that in mind. There's only 3 questions. It's not that serious. They just want to know that you're a real person and that you're someone, who is going to support your fellow survivors. So if you want to know more about that, go to queenbeing.com/span. And hello, Tiffany. I missed you. How are you? I think that's the Tiffany I know. All right, everybody. I'm so sorry. Malta says I'm having a bad typing day. I love that. All right, everybody. I want to send you big hugs and love. And I'm sorry that I have to run, but I really do. And I will see you soon. Everybody stay safe. Cheryl, my pleasure. Sorry I can't stay for longer today. I'll see you guys on Monday morning for another live chat. And do not forget, hello Butterfly Mama 5555, hello. Don't forget, there will be a new video for you tonight at 7 p.m. and also Saturday and Sunday at 10 a.m. and Monday as usual. All right. Thank you, Malta. Everybody, I'll see you soon. Have a good day. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. Thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me.